Hi, I'm Annapolis Mayor Josh Cohen with the video update for March 2013. There's a lot that's been happening in the city. In this update, I want to touch on some key points. First one being the budget and the state of the city, but I also want to talk about the Hillman Garage, a campaign to promote walkability, as well as a couple events going on in the city this month. On March 11th, I had the responsibility and the privilege of presenting a proposed budget to the City Council and reporting on the state of our city. The state of our city is strong, especially considering where we've been over these past few years and the state that our, not just economy, but that our city's budget was in. I'm not going to go over past history, but where we are today is that we're in the third consecutive year of balanced budgets. Our workforce is more than 7% leaner than it was when I took office. We've restored more than $20 million into our fund balances, or our piggy bank of cash on hand, and as a result, we've been able to pay off all of our lines of credit and tax anticipation notes. We still have more work to do, certainly in terms of our long-term liabilities like our police and fire pension. But we have our head above water. We're not reacting to a crisis. We're now able to plan strategically and make sure we continue to make the progress and build on the progress we've been making. The proposed budget I've submitted maintains a constant tax levy for the city. This is the second year in a row where I'm proposing that the city is going to take in the same amount of property tax revenues as it has the previous year. So the proposed fiscal 14 budget that I submitted shows same amount of property tax revenue, not just as fiscal 13, but 2 years ago, as in fiscal 12. The theme of this budget is responsible restraint. Responsible because we need to continue making progress and putting our fiscal house in order, but restraint because given all that we've been through and the contributions that we've asked of taxpayers to help stabilize the city's situation, I felt that now is not the time to be asking taxpayers to contribute even more, which is why for the second straight year we have a constant levy. By and large, it's a status quo budget in terms of our operating budget, and even our capital improvement program for infrastructure projects is scaled back from historic levels, but there are some key items in the capital improvement program for this upcoming fiscal year. The biggest one is $7.5 million for bulkhead and flood mitigation work around City Dock. The City Dock Master Plan that this community has been engaged in for more than 2 years now has a lot of proposals in it. Some are controversial, but the one part that there's widespread agreement about is that the city has the responsibility to fix the flooding issues at City Dock, not just the nuisance flooding that happens a dozen times a year on Dock Street and on Compromise Street, but also if we're investing money in fixing this to look long-term at sea level rise, which the Naval Academy is investing in addressing and which we need to as well. So $7.5 million out of our $10 million capital improvement program for the upcoming year is focused on flood mitigation and bulkhead work at City Dock. There's also $220,000 to begin implementation of a beautiful wayfinding signage program. What that is about in a nutshell is making it easy for people to get around, to navigate Annapolis, to know where parking garages are, where other points of interest are. Folks like me who've grown up here sometimes don't even think about how to get from one place to another, but we have so many visitors coming into town. One of the biggest requests that the city gets from businesses, from visitors, is make people aware of the parking that you have, make people aware of the circulator stops and how to get from place to place. So the wayfinding signage program is something that's been in the works for over a year. It'll be simple, concise, and attractive signs that will be appropriate for Annapolis, but will also do their job and help people get around. So the CIP, the Capital Improvement Program, includes some money to begin that this year. It includes $150,000 for long-needed design work to begin replacing the pool at Truxton Park. There's a new project in there which is $250,000 for new infill sidewalks. Last year, the city created a new sidewalk fund to allow the city to repair and replace sidewalks, because previously we didn't have the funds to do that. This new $250,000 fund for new sidewalks will allow the city to pour new sidewalks where there's missing pieces, because on a lot of major arteries like Spa Road, Cedar Park Road, Melvin Avenue, there's a sidewalk here, then grass, then sidewalk, then grass. And especially for a walking town like Annapolis, we need to fill those in. Finally, there is $750,000 to begin design and engineering for Hillman Garage, which brings me to the next point, the Hillman Garage and what we're going to do with it. The city just got back an engineering analysis for the Hillman Garage, looking at how long we had before we had to take action. We're still looking at the dollars associated with the different options, but in a nutshell, the report indicates that we have 2 years left with the Hillman Garage if we do not take steps to repair it. If we do invest in some needed repairs and we continue with necessary maintenance, the Hillman Garage should probably last another 10 years. So the good news is that we're not in this reactive crisis mode with Hillman Garage. We have some time to plan thoughtfully and strategically whether we want to just keep repairing it in place as long as we can, or when we want to actually rebuild the thing, and whenever that point is, how do we want to change it, if at all. Personally, when that time comes, I hope that we are able to expand some capacity at Hillman Garage. The City Council appointed a Hillman Garage Advisory Committee. That committee held its first meeting. It's composed of both residents and business leaders, and its goal is to come back to the city with recommendations, not only long-term for the future of Hillman Garage, but also if and when we do have to replace it, and if some or all of Hillman Garage is unavailable, what are we going to do collectively? All of the different constituent groups who use that garage, how are we going to manage during that interim period? So like I said, it held its first meeting. It's going to be meeting on a regular schedule, and we'll be coming back to the City Council with some recommendations. Speaking of the garage, after you park in a garage, you can get out and walk. And earlier this month, the city kicked off a promotion with our Main Streets Annapolis partnership, promoting the walkability of Annapolis. In our culture, we've become used to going to a mall, parking in a garage, and then walking forever from one length of the mall to the other and back again, and not thinking anything of it. Part of this promotion is to visually show how our shopping areas, you can walk from one end to the other and spend even less time than you would if you parked at a mall and walked from one end to the other. And the difference is, unlike a mall, which is created so that every step of the way you're bombarded with marketing to extract every retail dollar out of you, the city's a real city, and our not just Main Street and City Dock, but all of our traditional neighborhood shopping districts, West Annapolis, Eastport, Maryland Avenue, West Street, evolved naturally over the years. They're an authentic shopping experience. More often than not, the shop owners are actually going to be in those stores. And so this campaign with Main Streets Annapolis Partnership really promotes and tries to get people to appreciate the fact that, hey, Annapolis is just as walkable as some of these newer creations. And in fact, with the circulator, with the convenient parking, I'll have a better experience for me and my family than just going to the mall. There are 2 events coming up this month. One is a traditional event. The other is will hopefully become a new annual tradition. The first one is the annual sock burning and oyster roast. That's been originally an Eastport tradition. Now it's become an Annapolis tradition. That's going to be on Saturday, March 23rd at the Annapolis Maritime Museum. For information, you can go to their website, amaritime.org. And then finally, the other big event is going to be the first Annapolis Film Festival. Annapolis has had a few film festivals put together by different groups in the past. This is a new group that's come together. They have put together a fantastic program for this. It's the same weekend, beginning March 22nd, showcasing not just natural features, but also some homegrown talent. They're going to be showing at a number of local venues, including Maryland Hall, and we're extending the circulator route to Maryland Hall for that. the Banneker Douglas Museum, St. John's College, and more. And for more information on that, go to their website, AnnapolisFilmFestival.net. There's a lot, excuse me, there's a lot more that's going to be happening in the coming weeks, so stay tuned for the next video update. And as always, you can reach me in the mayor's office at 410-263-7997, by email at mayor@annapolis.gov, and by visiting my blog, mayorcohen.com, and leaving a comment. Thank you for watching.